Do you feel like something is holding you back? Are you tired of feeling stuck? Like you are the hamster who's constantly spinning the wheel, who is exerting action and energy, and yet you feel like you're not truly making progress. Well, there's one key habit that a lot of us have that we need to address in order to get to the life of our dreams. My name is Yanique, and like many of you, I am still very much under construction. And so we don't know how to fully commit to the journey, and so it's holding us back. It's the reason why year after year, our New Year's resolutions look the same. But I feel like we do a disservice to ourselves by trying to fix the symptom, how the lack of perseverance shows up in our lives on a surface level without addressing the root cause, because the reason why we can't commit might come out of different places. And it's important that we address some of those different places so you can deal with the root of the thing, so that how the lack of commitment to a journey shows up in your life can no longer be an issue for you. For you, it might be that you need instant gratification. And this is one where your disappointment, things not looking the way that you thought they were going to look, causes you to give up too quickly. You might find yourself constantly starting something new because you're addicted to how that new thing feels. I bought all the cute clothes, I got the weights, I did all of the things that you need to do in the beginning to start, and it makes me feel really good because look at me getting it together, until you hit the action and the work that it requires to really get it together. But it's what's keeping you stuck, sis. Let's be for real. Doing the work is uncomfortable. You're not getting that same instant gratification feeling and euphoria from doing the work. Exercising is not that fun for the most of us. I know there's some of y'all out there that really like the gym and really, not me. Okay, my favorite part is when it's done. And the heart is deceitful. It will convince you that that feeling of getting prepared to start is enough, and it's not. Okay, you are going to rob yourself of your dream weight, your dream goals, your dream life if you get stuck on just seeking the instant gratification, the quick win, the easy win, the feeling of I got it together, instead of doing the work to really get it together. I'm really big on my plant analogies right now, which is hilarious because I don't even like outside like that. But still, think of yourself as a seed. What are the things that the seed needs to thrive, to blossom, to bloom, to live its full potential or get to its full potential? It needs soil, good soil, nutrient-rich soil. It needs water. It needs sunlight. Before we even get to the point where we can see the light, we have to be buried in the soil, right? There's a lot of foundational things that happen in the soil before I grow up through the soil to see the light. Seeing the light lets us know, it's an indicator that something is happening, some growth is happening. But what if you are digging yourself up too prematurely? You see that glimpse of light at the start of every journey. That moment of light that we may experience before the required burying is going to feel good. We need that feeling. It's a necessary feeling. That feeling is the hope that the process that I'm about to go through is going to get me through to my goals, to my aspirations, to my dream life. However, those things cannot come to pass until we are buried, until the seed is put into the ground. And that's dark. That time is unknown. That time, we don't know how long that process is going to take. We don't know how long we're going to be buried for, but the development happens during the burial. So if you are constantly chasing the light, that moment, that euphoria, the little hope, you're going to constantly pluck your seed out of the ground prematurely to experience that moment before you bury yourself into another area to try it again. You're unwilling to go through the burial process. Sis, stay in the ground. Stay consistent with your actions. Stay buried in the dark, even though it's unknown, even though things are unclear, even though it is hard and uncomfortable, because if you stayed buried and go through the developmental process, when you finally come to the light, it's going to be because you've grown and not because you plucked yourself out of the dirt prematurely. It's the same thing when the journey is taking much longer than you thought it was going to take. Having your own timeline or being committed to that timeline can rob you of the dream life that you're designed to live, because that's another reason why you will turn back or pluck yourself out of the dirt. Have you seen that meme, or it's a picture? I believe it's a cartoon, like a newspaper cartoon drawing, illustration, girl, whatever. The man digging through the tunnel, and on the other side of this tunnel that he has created is diamonds. And he stops digging literally right before he got to the diamond, and he's turning around. That picture is a lot of us. We give up because we're so committed to a timeline that we might be giving up right before we get to the thing that we want so desperately. Your idea of how long something is supposed to take, it could be the very thing that is stopping you from sticking to or committing to a journey that will get you to the diamonds, your goals, your aspirations, your dreams, that's right on the other side. You could be quitting a position that you dislike at a company where if you would have just stayed, God actually was about to send somebody else who you were going to interact with, who had your dream opportunity somewhere else, but you had to stay in that position. There is so many, oh girl, how many lessons that we are supposed to learn in an uncomfortable season that we usurp by plucking ourselves out of it prematurely because we are so dedicated to a timeline of what things are supposed to look like. A couple of years ago, I was in a position, like a job, that I just did not like. I took the position because I thought it was going to minimize my stress level so that I can focus on my businesses, right? And girl, it was stressful. Every single day I complained about this position. And I'm going to tell you, it was hard just because of the amount of work that was required, but it was not like hard as in I was high level management, a top executive type of position, okay? And I knew this going in because this was supposed to be my fund the dream type of job. Cool. But because I had created a timeline in my head for how long I was going to be there, what that position was supposed to look like, and not expecting the stress that it was causing, and because I was clinging to complaining, I missed out on lessons that I was learning or seeing the gratefulness in it. And do you know, because I've kept in touch with some of the people who are still there, months after I bowed out, I was like, listen, that's it. That's all for me. Goodbye. Sayonara. Okay. And months after, the position started to change. A lot of the issues that I had with that position, not even an issue anymore. If I had stayed, if I had held on just a little bit longer, I still could have been using that position to fund my dream. Now, to God be the glory, I'm fine. However, I can see that I left that position prematurely. I also can recognize that there are so many things that I have learned and used that came out of being in that position. The stress at that position only fine-tuned my eye for seeing bottlenecks and knowing where systems needed to be changed, or little tweaks or fine-tuning that needed to happen within a process. And it's only helped me in my entrepreneurial journey create the systems that I use today. I learned how to be extremely detail oriented and how to manage multiple important things at the same time. I learned how to prioritize out of that position, but I couldn't see that while I was in it, while I was buried, honey, because it just felt dark and uncomfortable. And I focused too much on the feeling of being uncomfortable instead of being grateful and seeing the lessons that were taking place, the shaping of my mindset, of my productivity, of the little skills that I have now that were happening in that season. And that is why it is so important for us to recognize yes, I'm uncomfortable. Yes, it's dark right now, but I'm in development. And so I can't pluck myself out to go and start something new right here because there's something else left here for me to learn, or the answer is right on the other side. I just need to keep pressing forward. Now, maybe you're not one of us who likes instant gratification. Maybe you're not always chasing the easy win, or maybe you don't have an issue with working hard. Maybe your issue is that you are scared of failing. And so you'll sabotage the thing before you even really give yourself a chance. There's a parable in the Bible. You can find it in Matthew. I don't know the address, this child. I'll put the scripture right here, but it's in Matthew for sure. And it is the parable or story about a master who entrusts different talents to his servants. Now, in the story, talents are money here, okay? But he gives these different servants a different amount of money for them to invest, to grow, and to bring back to him. Let's just pull it up. The parable of the three servants, Matthew 25, starting at verse 14, and I'm reading from the NLT. It says, "Again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. He then left on the trip." Verse 16, "The servant who received 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. He doubled the money. The servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time, their master returned from the trip and would call them to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, 'Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest. I've earned 5 more.' The master was full of praise. 'Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together.'" In other words, let's turn up, okay? Verse 22, "The servant who had received 2 bags of silver came forward and said, 'Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 2 more.' The master said, same thing. 'Well done, my good and faithful servant. You da-da-da. I'll give you more responsibilities now. Turn up, turn up.'" Verse 24, "Then the servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, 'Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back.' But the master replied, 'You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I would have gotten some interest on it.' Then he ordered, 'Take the money from this servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away.'" The lesson here is very clear. It is not the amount of talent that you have. It is not the amount of resources that you have. It comes down to what you are willing to do with what you have. And burying your talent, sabotaging yourself, being afraid to take risks, being so scared of failing is doing nothing to get you to the dream life or to fulfill your goals. There is nothing to learn from not trying. There is no new skills that you can develop from not trying. The only true failure that exists is doing nothing. Like, he calls the servant wicked and lazy. Why didn't you deposit my money in the bank instead of burying it? Because at least the bank would have put some money on it. You put it in the ground just so that you can give me exactly what I gave you. That's not what God is looking for. He's already given you everything that you need in order to take this life and to make it so much more, to find the joy and the fulfillment in the life of your dreams, in the desires of your heart, that returning back to him and being like, okay, I still got the things that you had given me, but I've added nothing else to it. There's no room for his glory in there. None. You're so scared that something is going to go wrong that nothing is happening in your life anyway. You're so afraid that not only do you fail to achieve your dreams, your goals, the aspirations of your heart, you also waste life and time. Like you have nothing to show for it other than you existed. That's not life. You're not living, sis, if you are living strictly in fear. There's no impact, there's no growth, there's nothing to pass on to the ones after you. I really want you to do the work to get over the fear that is holding you back. Every single day is a new opportunity to choose the actions that are going to get us to our dreams and our goals. Every single day, we are faced with decisions, with choices. And if you continue to clutch onto fear instead of trying, at the very least, just trying, learning as you go. Every opportunity that I've had within the last 2 years has come out of me putting an effort out there. Nothing has dropped into my lap. Every opportunity, every brand deal, every event that I've been invited to, every person that I have come in contact with who has then led to more opportunities have come out of effort, have come out of me just putting myself out there. Yes, it's scary to be out here on the internet, girl. It's scary to be out here telling y'all my actual business. Sitting here and sharing with you in the midst of my journey is already connecting me to resources and people who can actually help, who can point me in the right direction. I don't have all of the answers. I didn't start with all of the answers. I am doing this afraid, and me doing it afraid has resulted in something so beautiful and a story that is still being written. Don't let your fear hold you back. You have to commit to the journey in the unknown while it's scary and keep on pressing forward. That is the only way that things are going to change for you. And do not stop when you hit a setback. We view setbacks as indicators that we're doing something wrong when that is just simply not true. I have found that God will use a setback to help build our resilience or to pinpoint an issue, a heart issue or a mindset issue that can't go with you to the next level while you're elevating your life, while you're working on becoming this dream version of yourself or towards your dream life. Setbacks are information. It's not necessarily only informing you that you're doing something wrong or this is not the path for you. And if every time you come up against resistance or a setback, you feel like, oh, this is it. This is, especially if you were waiting for one to happen to be evidence that you're doing something wrong, you are going to find yourself starting over and over again. But setbacks are a natural part of life and a natural part of the journey. Nobody's growth, nobody's healings journey, nobody's growth journey, career journey, dream life journey, elevation journey looks like this. And we all know that. We know that it looks like this. It's never a straight path. Just continue elevating until you made it, right? We know this already, but it feels horrible. It's so uncomfortable to go through a setback that we just take it as information that this path is not for us. Let me try something else. Do not take every setback like that. Sometimes these setbacks are sent intentionally to get you to come off of your path. If you are facing failure or resistance, and at the same time, temptation is coming, sis, that setback might be intentionally set up to get you to stop doing what you're supposed to do. You have to keep on going even when sustained action has not brought you results just yet. Listen, I get it. I will walk 3 miles, do 4 squats, and then look in the mirror like, baby, where is my abs? Where are the abs at? But it takes sustained action. And I think working out or a fitness journey is such a good example of this, because in order to build muscles, you literally are like breaking your body apart. To lose weight, you're literally going through uncomfortable seasons. I have to change my habits, my eating patterns, how much I'm sleeping, eating more of the things that I don't necessarily want to eat, but I know that they're good for me. These things are so uncomfortable, but necessary to get to losing weight. I can't eat fruit tarts and tiramisu every night, even though that is what my flesh and my heart desires. If I'm really trying to eat right, that means I can't be at the rooftop bar every single weekend with my friends. Because when I'm there, I want French fries and I want 2 or 3 cocktails because it's going to undo what I've been doing during the week. This is what it looks like to develop in the dark. Even though it's uncomfortable, I am going to work out every day. I am going to change the way that I eat. I am going to have to tell my friends no. Or, okay, girl, let's come up with an alternative way to celebrate because I'm not trying to eat a lot of sugar, which means I can't drink cocktails every weekend. And if you slip up and you don't meal prep, and so you have a week of takeout where you should have been eating salmon and broccoli, but instead you've been eating Chipotle almost every other day. I don't know whose journey that is. It sounds very familiar. Or you get a health diagnosis in the middle of your fitness journey, which now changes the way that you have to approach working out. Or even your eating habits does not mean stop, this is not for you. It means that you just need to restructure how you approach this thing. Maybe it's just about the way you're going about it that needs to change, not the journey itself. Focus on progress, not perfection. Remember, every point of resistance or every time you get a little touch of failure, this is an opportunity for a lesson, for growth, for development of a new idea. How many products do we have on the market right now that came out of a person's failure? Potato chips came out of a person's failure. Oh my God, pharmaceuticals. So many pharmaceuticals that we have that came out of failure while they were looking for something else. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step towards your goals. It is a step towards the life of your dreams. Do not give up here. And do not give up because you doubt yourself. Self-doubt prevents us from being committed to the journey and just eats away at our dreams, one doubt at a time. Okay. A couple of weeks ago on our broadcast channel, I had asked our community, in what area of your life right now you are kind of filled with doubts or like you're doubting God can do a specific thing for you. And a lot of the response was that I don't really doubt God. I doubt myself. Sis, doubt of yourself is connected to doubting God, okay? Because he is not going to tell you to do something if he is not also going to provide the resources that you need in order to fulfill that said thing. He's not going to give you desires that he knows you cannot do, especially because we don't do it by ourselves. We're doing this journey with him. So we're not relying on our strengths or our weaknesses, because let's be for real. If I was looking only to my strength, I am going to see more of my weakness. And that is where self-doubt creeps in, because I am going, this thing that I want, this life that I want to live, I can't do this by myself. Okay, think about Moses. This man did not want to go back to Egypt. He did not want to free these Israelites. He did not want to speak to them. Remember, Moses thought that he didn't have the ability to speak to people. God's design for Moses did not include Aaron. He allowed Aaron to go because Moses doubted himself so much. That is what self-doubt looks like. The only difference between us and Moses is that Moses stayed so close in relationship with God that he kept pressing forward. We know that he made mistakes, right? He definitely made some mistakes that held him back from seeing the dream. Moses didn't even get to see the dreamland, the promised land, because of how much he doubted himself and how much he doubted what God has said. What happened in the wilderness with Moses and the Israelites is what we do in our journeys towards our dream life and towards God, what God has already placed on our hearts for us to go after, our desires, our plan, our dream lives that's already designed for us. We forfeit because we doubt ourselves and we lack trust in God. That's what happened to Moses. He didn't do the things that God told him to do. God said, speak to the rock. And instead, he struck the rock with his staff. The result was the same. The people of Israel, the Israelites, still got the water, but they didn't get it the way that God had intended because Moses lacked trust in himself and he lacked trust in God to provide the way that he said that he would. Did it forfeit the promise? No. The Israelites still saw the promised land. He just didn't go. So, sis, your self-doubt is a doubt connected to your lack of trust in God, and you may not see your dream life. It might be that somebody else in your lineage, your kids, your grandkids, somebody else will come up and pick up the mantle and move forward into your promise. But baby, I don't want that to happen. I want to see the promises that God has promised me. So I am going to persevere, and I implore you to persevere too. Know that he equips you with everything that you need to fulfill the promise, to get to the dream life that you desire. It's already within you. It's already out there waiting for you to stick to the journey. Do not give up. Do not dig yourself up out of the ground prematurely to start something new every other second. Stay consistent with your actions. Do not let self-doubt steal the very thing that you're already prepared for from you. Do not let the enemy sidetrack you with setbacks, with your fear of failure, with temptations, because what is for you, but you will not see it if you cannot persist, if you cannot stay consistent with the necessary actions to see it all the way through. Embrace your journey. It is yours. Lean into that discomfort because it is not going to stay that way all the time. It is for a period of time, but every time that you start over, you extend the period of time that you go through discomfort. Every time that you sabotage the dream to pick up something else, you extend how long it's going to take you to get where you want to go. I pray that you embrace your journey, that you lean into discomfort instead of trying to run away from it. That is going to be the key in breaking this habit, in making the necessary change so that you can press towards the mark for the prize of your higher calling in Jesus Christ. Press on, sis. It's worth it.